Hey everyone, welcome back to the One Up the One Up XP Show podcast. Today I'm being joined by our first collegiate esport team, the Ferris State Esports Club team, Brutus the Bulldog. I mean, I always spend time down in Ferris State, so why not go down to Ferris State and see what they're doing with esports? Today we're talking to Jonathon Eaton, who is the advisor of Ferris State Esports Club team. Jonathon, how you doing, brother?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. So we are going to be talking a little bit about Ferris State and your esports that you have down there. I am very unfamiliar when it comes to organized esports, and that's kind of one reason why I'm doing this podcast and kind of bringing information and pulling the curtain up, if you will, on esports, because organized esports really isn't my bread and butter. I was more of the organizations and pros, just cut right to it. But now kids really have an opportunity to go to school and play esports or focus on a background in video games, something that Ferris State I know highlights very well when it comes to even the production of a lot of that stuff. But let's start off with getting some background on you. A lot of advisors or coaches or program runners have some sort of background in video games. So tell us a little bit about Jonathon Eaton, what makes you tick, and what do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, no problem. Wasn't really into video games that much growing up. I played them on the weekends here and there, but I was involved with a lot of traditional sports and also marching band. So I have kind of a competitive nature from that.
Okay.
When I first started going to college, I really just fell in love with video games, and I was playing video games with my friends, on console. Then Overwatch came out. We started playing that a little bit after it came out, and I just absolutely fell in love with Overwatch. Started spending a ton of time getting better. Bought a PC so I could play it better. Started watching the pro scene, Overwatch League, and I've just been super into that with all my friends. I ended up starting the esports club here on campus at Ferris. It was originally League of Legends, and then I kind of got with them and we turned it into a full esports club. When I was a student there, played with the team for 3 years, graduated, and ended up becoming the esports coordinator for Ferris. So now I run all of our club teams. We're working on varsity teams here soon. We're getting scholarships soon. We're getting a new building on campus as well. So it's really exciting to kind of watch it be not too much on campus and then grow it
Right.
too. We have about 350 students involved.
Yeah, I saw. I believe it was somewhere online that you guys started with 30 kids, and now you're over 300 kids or something like that. So you
Yep.
really blown up very quickly, and that just kind of shows you how prominent or just how explosive right now that video games and esports is.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, can continue on if you have
Yeah,
something
no,
else.
and so that for me, I mean, I've spent a lot of time after Overwatch. I got good at Hearthstone as well. So I've been super close to GM in Overwatch. I hit Legend in Hearthstone, and then I play a bunch of other games. My main goal is to kind of just get above average in every ranked game, so I at least understand it enough to
Yeah,
work with.
I mean that's kind of like, every coach's goal is to kind of have or know the background of everything that you're doing, and you're really setting the platform really nicely, so you know what you're talking about or what you're doing when you get involved with these competitions and the events. So the background on Ferris Esports, like you told us, it kind of started off as more of a like you said, League of Legends, but you've grown it into something much bigger than that now. Tell me some of the achievements that you guys have had over the last few years with your esports club team.
Yeah, the most success that we've had has been with our Michigan Bandwidth Bowl, which is a tournament that we run. We've run three already. We used to do it once a year. Now we do it twice a year, one in the spring, one in the fall semester, where we get all of the local Michigan colleges together and we compete to see who's the best. We normally run 5 games for that. The games have switched here and there depending on the year. And
Right.
then, it's kind of like a track style event where you get points for how your team places in each game, and the team with the most points at the end wins. That's been a blast. We've had a ton of people participate in that. Over 200 students have participated in each of the tournaments, which has been a blast.
Do you
And then
hold that on
also,
campus or do you do it online?
yep. So it's fully online. We
Okay.
plan on doing once we get our physical arena on campus. We're gonna hold one online and one in person a year. But we developed it to be online. A lot of places didn't really have facilities to run this kind of stuff yet. We
Right.
still wanted to kind of bring everyone together. And
Gotcha.
as far as success goes, our Overwatch team finished top 16 in the nation in the fall collegiate semester.
Congrats on
We were
that.
pretty proud of that,
Yeah.
so we're pumped about that.
That I mean that's a huge thing because a lot of people might not know Overwatch. I mean, I personally don't play Overwatch, but I know just how big Overwatch is and just how impressive 16 in the nation
Yep, it was
really
I think
is.
like 512 schools who were in
Yeah.
the tournament.
So it's wild to, when you say top 16, people are like, oh, that's only top 16, but 500 teams. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's whittling it down, if you will, brother. So the games that you guys are focusing on right now: Overwatch, Rainbow Six, League of Legends, Rocket League, CS:GO. Is there any other games that you guys might explore, or is that kind of the main ones that you're sticking to right now?
We stick to those, but we also have a Valorant team as well. So we're putting
Okay.
together. We had a Valorant team start last spring, and then we're continuing that. That game came out, and we're pretty excited about that. In the fall, we tried to get a team together. It was a little bit too early notice for a lot of people,
Right.
but we're excited to head into the fall with those. CS:GO, we might not have a team this year. We're looking for people to play, but all of our CS:GO superstars kind of transitioned into Valorant, and
Yeah.
that's the direction. They just enjoy playing it.
Yeah, I noticed that when I picked up Valorant last year, when it came out, me and my friends were playing. I was like, "This is kind of a CS:GO killer." I mean, CS:GO has been around for so long, and to me, it just is, graphically inclined and just an older title, and they never really updated it, for the most part. But Valorant to me seemed like a better CS:GO, or just
Yeah, and I
it
can
kind of
understand
appeals to
why
more
people
people.
like CS more
Yeah.
but I can also understand it's a bigger learning curve to get into CS than it is
Oh
Valorant.
yeah, CS:GO is never my bread and butter either. For some reason, a lot of those games were never my bread and butter. I was never a search and destroy kid either in Call of Duty, but they're all, let's play search. I was like, no, man. So I wanted to hit on this real quick because this is something that I don't see a lot of schools kind of highlight, but you guys do. And I'm watching some of the highlights right here, and I'll actually throw it up here right now. This is Ferris Esports Twitch at the bottom here of the screen if you're watching on video. But they do a lot of highlighting and production and shoutcasting. Now, that is a huge thing, especially when it comes to professional esports, or if you've ever watched something like PUBG or Overwatch or Rocket League. They have broadcasters or color commentators like they do in real or more traditional sports. I don't want to say real sports because these are real sports too, but traditional sports, you always saw the broadcasters or the commentators, and you guys do that yourself as well. So you have like a full set production, but also shoutcasting. Can you go in depth on that a little bit?
Yeah, so my background, I actually my degree is in esports, but I combined game production or game design and television production. So
Okay.
I've done a lot of remote like live. I've directed hockey games, football games, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, and so that live sports aspect, I just took that and goes, this is esports. We can do live sports. It's a lot easier for us to run that as a director because we don't have to, I don't have to have five kids with physical cameras running around, in the booth or on the field.
Oh yeah.
It's all digital, so it's a lot easier for me to direct that. We have a director, we have a replay helper, and then we have our announcers as well. And so it's really nice. The studio is pretty small. We're expanding. Once we get more students, once we get more help, there's always more stuff we can do with that.
Right.
But we really focus on that because we'll have talent come and go, and that's great. And we focus on making our students, showcasing our students as well. But there are a lot of people who want to work behind the scenes. Like if you're going to be a pro player, you know that before you're 19, before you're 20,
Oh
before
yeah.
you're at college. So a lot of these kids still, they enjoy playing games. Like how can I get into the industry? Well, behind the scenes, running the production,
Yep.
doing the shoutcasting, doing the event management, and that's what we're focused on training.
And that's what I wanted to, when I keep saying that I want to bring more attention to not just esports or game playing, but the background in it, because there is more stuff like that. A lot of kids do like doing the shoutcasting or the production of the event. And when you look at some of these main events where they have a lot of stuff going on, one that always comes to mind is when they did the Fortnite World Cup, which was a massive event. You have people that aren't necessarily on camera, but doing some of that grip work or doing some of the button pushing or talking in heads to let everyone know what's going on, switching cameras, switching replays. Like there's so much behind the scenes, just like TV industry, like you said, with that you have an emphasis in or kind of a background in. That is all associated with esports as well. It's all just kind of under one big umbrella, which I think is really cool that you guys highlight and give the kids the opportunity to do that. Because shoutcasting to me is a lot of fun, and I've done some of that in my I guess I'll say short esports run or short video game run here. And it's not easy, but if you can get it down, there's a lot of opportunity for you to snag a job in that. Uh,
Definitely. And we work with our sports communication major and our television production major too, and bring their students in who are learning those, the sports communication, that's what they want to do. They want to be announcers.
right.
And so pulling them in and having that expertise has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's something that, again, hats off to you, because that is like something really, really cool to kind of have highlighted there. So we're gonna get into some of the meat of the questions here and kind of figure out what collegiate esports is, the questions behind it and whatnot. What perks, if any, does Ferris offer for esports minded students? Not just the players, but anybody that has kind of or outlook of esports background.
Yeah, so we are offering scholarships here soon, but we don't have that yet. Currently, it's just been kind of a community, get to know each other. A lot of the players wouldn't have met each other otherwise. They're in different degree programs. One of the things that surprised me the most is I thought it would be mostly the like IT or game design students.
Right.
But our Overwatch team, we only have two kids who have the same major, and they're both criminal justice majors. The rest of them we have a pharmacy graduate student, some education students, and so it's been a really cool variety, and less focused on like the traditional, nerd or geek style stuff than I thought. So
Oh
really
yeah.
just kind of bringing all those students together, getting them to know each other. We do a lot of on-campus events. We hold meetings on campus. We do a lot of the cool like meet and greet stuff where a lot of my players have played together for a couple years, and hadn't even met each other in person more than a handful of times.
Yep.
And so it's pretty funny to, see when we were handing out jerseys for the first time, is that's when a lot of people met each other. And so everybody was kind of like came in pretty awkward, and they look around and they hear somebody talking. They're like, oh, it's you. I didn't recognize, what you look like. And that was a really cool moment for me to see all the students, they are really good friends, and seeing them walking around campus with their jerseys on together is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and that's another big aspect that I think a lot of people don't understand too is the people that you play with, you grow bigger bonds with them than some of your real or in life physical friends. And you end up becoming, some of the bestest friends, brothers, sisters, whatever you want to call it. I have some of the closest people in my life are some of the people that I played video games with, but actually have never physically met. And that is always something super special. How do kids try out or get involved with the Ferris Esports Club?
Yeah, so we just send them to our Discord. That's the way they start. We communicate everything through our Discord. That's where we do all of our main communication, all of our match day communications, and we run our tryouts through there. So they'll hop in the Discord, mention like, hey, I want to try out for Overwatch. We'll tell you when the dates are.
Mm-hmm.
We do the dates the second week of school.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it gets a little bit of time for incoming freshmen who, if they weren't coming here specifically for esports, if we didn't recruit them for it, but they still want to try out, then they can come and do that as well. So we have A, B, and occasionally a C team for some games. So if you want to try out for the, practice 3 days a week, scrims all weekend, and that kind of stuff, A team, by all means, go for it. But if you're just like, hey, I want to meet some new people, want to just play games with people on campus, that's what more of our B and C teams are for just kind of community building.
Okay, gotcha. And the Discord link, is it in your Twitter bio?
Yep, our Discord links in our Twitter bio and on our Twitch.
All right, perfect. The two socials at the bottom of the screen there. You can follow those and find the Discord link if you're interested. We've already hit on this once, but again, what is the Michigan Bandwidth Bowl? And I want to know how this came about because it is a really, really good idea, and I really like what you do with it.
Yeah, so the Michigan Bandwidth Bowl, it's just a community tournament where we bring in all of the other colleges from around Michigan, and we compete to see who has the best esports, the total esports org. We get all the schools to bring all their teams. We run 5 different games in the spring. It was Rocket League, CS:GO, Valorant, Overwatch, and Rainbow Six, I believe. Or no, League of Legends instead of Rainbow Six in the spring. And we just kind of get everybody out. The top 3 teams in each bracket. So there's a bracket for each game. And the top 3 teams in each bracket get points awarded for their school. And then the school at the end with the most total points wins. And we send them out a trophy, and we post all about it on our socials and everything. It's just a fun way to build kind of rivalries with each other. I know we've played against a lot of these schools in our like actual brackets and tournaments and stuff. So when we get to see them and actually play them against each other, especially playing the same kids, you recognize the same kids year after year, and it's been really interesting to see. I know I've met players through playing in the Bandwidth Bowl when I was a student, that I see in a ranked game, and I go, oh hey, how's it going? I know you go to Grand Valley or Western, or
Right.
it's been really cool.
So, does this happen in one day, or is it a weekend thing?
We originally started it with one day,
Mm-hmm.
but it found out some of the games we did Rainbow Six, 2 out of best of 3s, and those took way longer than we anticipated.
Yeah.
And so we've moved the way we do it now, and I actually really like this, is we do all of the preliminary matches on the Saturday, and then on Sunday we just do the grand finals of every game back to back. So Saturday is just kind of all the play-ins in the bracket, and then Sunday is just grand finals of Rocket League followed by the grand finals of League of Legends, and it makes that Sunday kind of a really epic day because you have the best casters on that day, the most exciting action. It's the 2 best teams, and it is really a blast when we did this.
The main stage, if you will. So how did that start? I have to. Was like somebody just talking mad smack, and all of a sudden like, we'll take your school and our school on.
Actually, it was kind of like that. So Western held an in-person tournament,
Okay.
and the Ferris Overwatch team. It was an Overwatch tournament. The Ferris Overwatch team, we barely lost in the grand finals of that tournament. Um, and we had beaten them previously in the year, and so
Okay.
we were like, okay. And we played against a bunch of the other schools, and we're like, hey, what if we just put an online tournament? Getting people in person is going to be a lot more of a hassle, and it was since we were student run at the time. We're just like, okay, what can we do now to kind of build this Michigan esports community?
Right.
And that's what we're like. Hey, why not have a tournament, a for fun tournament? We give them a little trophy at the end, and it just kind of started from there. And we got it together.
That's awesome.
It was the first year. The first two times weren't the best. We had rules issues here and there and that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's what we're doing it for. We're learning and we're making it the best that we can.
Yeah. Now, I mean, not only are you having a friendly rivalry, but you're also bringing together the schools to, make the program or just the visual bigger, so people know who has esports around. It's not just about Ferris; it's about kind of the bigger scheme of thing, the community.
Yep.
Are there other games that Ferris may explore? We kind of touched on this as well, but do you have any plans for like Fortnite or Call of Duty or anything else that might be arising, or do you have plans for those?
Yeah, we've had a Fortnite team in the past,
Okay,
but and I'm assuming we're going to in the future. It's just kind of dependent on if the students really want it, I'm more than happy to
you're
make
gonna
it
add it,
happen.
right?
And we have had Call of Duty teams in the past year, so we're going to continue with Call of Duty. But they're more on the low key end. They're not as hyper competitive as the rest of our games are.
Right.
But the Fortnite, are the champion for that kind of graduated, and the other players were like, I'm busy with my senior year.
Got you. Do
But
you do
we
anything with
plan on
mobile?
continuing. We haven't done anything on mobile. But again, if the students want it, it
Got
happens.
you.
We've tried to get Dota teams together, but we only ever get like 3 or 4 players who want to do it. It just kind of comes down to if the players want it,
You'll
we'll make it
find a way
happen,
to
and I'll
do
be
it.
happy to support it.
Right.
But I'm not gonna force kids to play games that they.
No, I mean that's perfectly. I mean, you're 100% right on that. If you don't have kids that are going to be there for that, I mean, why carry the game, But if they come and say, "Hey, I'm good at this. What do you think?" and you'd be like, "Yeah, let's fire it up." In a normal year, how often do you compete in events? You said you have spring and fall. So is esports in general a year-round thing, or is there a certain season for it, like a
It
traditional sport?
Yeah, it's totally dependent on the game and who you go through. So there's
Okay.
a couple of different companies for each game, really, that host tournaments,
Right.
and we're still like waiting our way through. There's some big national organizations that have kind of come together and are trying to be the NCAA of esports,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm kind of just hesitant to join one until it kind of shakes out and we find out who is the clear winner there, because some of those buy-in fees can be quite large for our budget.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so we do a lot of the like we've done test buff, and then it was Battlefly for Overwatch, CLOL for League of Legends. It's all just kind of different companies, and they set their own schedules and rules. So we just abide by those and go with that. But
Got
it's
you.
typically fall and spring. Some games have a summer schedule. I don't make my kids play for the summer. We're not going to be number one in the nationals this year like some of the other schools in the area are. So I
Right.
kind of let my kids take a backseat, have a break. We'd still do practice, but we don't kind of push hard as we do in the fall.
Yeah, and I'm sure they get into scrims when they can, because like even when you go home, I mean, it's not like you're not going to play, but you might have to get a summer job, or you might have to do some things where, these kids are still going to be playing, but like you
Oh
said,
yeah.
it's not going to be like mandatory scrims or practices or whatever. But I guarantee you, those kids are still in scrim lobbies doing what they
Oh, for
can.
sure. I see them in our Discord all the time, still
Yeah.
hanging out and playing games, and I'll hop in and play, whenever I can. It's fun.
How do you recruit? So I know, like when I recruited in when I was a manager for Lazarus, you just kind of stick to your guns, look at some of the competition, who's a free agent, stuff like that. But being organized esports for college or for high school, I know is probably going to be a little bit different. But how do you go about doing it? And is there like a certain way to do it for college or high school?
Yeah, so for college, it's pretty much just for throughout our campus, I'm still trying to find players. I know we have secret hidden talent out there who,
Right.
just aren't coming to us. They're really good at the games, but they just don't necessarily, want to come to us for whatever reason. We're still reaching out and finding those. As far as bringing other people in, I'm not trying to like poach from other schools. If they want to come talk to me, I'm more than happy to get you here at Ferris.
Hmm.
But we're kind of building that high school to college pipeline where we are talking to high schools. We help develop a local high school like tournament, and league. I'm working with the Big Rapids High School esports coordinator to get everything together. I work with their students a lot, so I talk to the
That's
students in
cool.
that league, and I kind of, you find the best in there, and you go, hey, if you want to come to Ferris, this is how we can make it happen. And there's a couple of online recruiting platforms as well, like Stay Plugged In is the main one that I use as well. So you get on there, and it's all students who are looking to get recruited. And
Nice.
what can you offer me, scholarships, that kind of stuff. So a lot of it, if you're a student who's looking to get recruited, definitely be reaching out, sending
Right.
emails. I'm anytime I get an email, a Discord message, a Twitter DM, I'm always answering those, and I'm happy to talk. And if they're not a good fit for us and they want to go somewhere else, I'm happy to transfer them to whatever school it is that they want to go to, and I know all the local people.
Right.
Um, and so if their school's a better fit, then by all means do that. Don't be afraid. Like, oh, you're not committing anything. I'm not going to make you promise anything. If
Right.
you want to come, we're more than happy to have you.
And yeah, I can personally tell you if you're interested in reaching out to Jonathan. Yes, he does answer his DMs and Discord very quickly, which is always a plus. Because when I started setting this up, I was like, oh man, I don't know if anybody's actually going to answer me. And thankfully, a lot of coaches and a lot of personnel that I know were like, yeah, dude, let's do it. So I was like, cool, all right.
Yeah, that's kind of how the community runs. I know for a lot of we have like big group chats with all the local directors and stuff, and it's all through Discord.
That's great. But like you mentioned before, I want to go back to like you said, it was like you're not poaching, but I want to say that in NCAA, so NCAA, there's certain rules that coaches or traditional sports can't do, but you guys aren't NCAA affiliated, right? So you
Correct.
probably don't have like an outline or set rules. It's more of just like a friendly agreement. Don't do certain things, right?
Yeah, there's no governing body for esports right now.
Right.
Um, unless you're in one of those national leagues, then you have to follow their rules. But outside of that, it's the Wild West right now. You can kind of really do whatever. Um,
Which doesn't make sense to me. Like, why
yeah,
poach it? Why poach a kid to maybe a school or a place that he doesn't want to go? Maybe just because you can offer maybe something little, but I mean, to me, it just doesn't make sense.
no, agreed. And it's a small world out there, especially in esports. And
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
burn
here
your
to
bridges.
make any enemies or anything.
Yeah, like build the bridges, man. You're all trying to grow the same thing.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's what I'm really glad Michigan's focused on that. All the other directors are really cool. We're all pushing each other. We talk about stuff. We share like what we're doing and how we can make our programs better and each other's programs better. It's been really nice to everybody in the area is really focused on making Michigan the place to be for esports. And
right.
it's really cool to see that.
Awesome. Love to hear it, man. All right. So I have one last question here. And I think we kind of touched on it, and I think we kind of got it set in where we'd be. But what's the difference between organizations, esports organizations like FaZe or TSM or Lazarus or somebody like that, and organized esports for college and high school? Obviously, you're still getting the camaraderie from teammates and stuff like that, but you're at school. You're basically together. But what is the big difference that you think between orgs like that and also colleges or high schools?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us is our students are here for an education first. No matter
Correct.
what,
Yeah.
that's what their focus is. I'm here to help them with that. We organize study times for the students, all that kind of stuff. Make sure the students are doing well in school first. We have eligibility requirements. If you don't meet those, then you can't play. I
Awesome.
don't care
Yeah.
if you're the superstar on the team, nationally ranked.
Yep.
If you're
Hold your
not if
grades.
you're not a good student or a good friend, even if you're not being open or you're being toxic, we'll bench you. We have no problem doing that. We're open to everything. But the biggest part, yeah, is just making sure they're focused on school, but building those relationships with each other,
Hmm.
getting them here, and excited about what they want to do. Everybody has their own expertise. Everybody's going into their own program, so kind of sharing that around. It's nice to see, like some of the education majors learning from the game design majors, so that maybe they can integrate that stuff into their classrooms when they normally wouldn't meet these. A lot of colleges can be kind of secluded. You're with your education students, the game design students are together,
Right.
and you don't interact a ton. This gives those students an opportunity to interact.
Right. And I mean that you basically hit it around the head. That was exactly what I was thinking, but I just wanted to confirm and get it out there. Special segment here. I asked Purdy Curdy, professional PUBG player for TSM last week, this segment, and it seemed really interesting. Now, I know with you guys a little bit different. You're probably not, with Purdy, he's sponsored by Logitech, so a lot of his gear was Logitech. But what does your setup look like? Obviously, you're playing some games too, so you got your own setup. What do you go to for a mouse? What are you using for a mouse right now?
Yeah, I have the Razer Viper Ultimate, so it's just a
Woo!
short little wired or wireless mouse. I
Yep.
like wireless everything. I get up, I walk around my house, and I talk to my friends, and
Yeah,
I don't
if
know,
you can
obviously
pull
what's
it.
going on.
I mean, nowadays everything's so fast anyway. It's not
Yeah.
like before where it's super laggy or you might have some input lag where I remember when I first started gaming, wireless mice were just like, it's not a
Yeah,
thing.
I didn't switch until January of this year. I was really hesitant because of that same thing.
Yeah.
I'm a Rhine main in Overwatch, and it's like I don't want to, not block a shatter or not hit my own uh, because of input.
Oh yeah, and I switched last year, 2 years ago when I had a Logitech sponsorship. The G502 Lightspeed had just come out, and I like the extra buttons on the side,
Yep.
just because I like to use my thumb to do some extra things. But yeah, the Lightspeed and anything wireless nowadays, yeah, you don't have to worry about input lag. What keyboard you using?
Cooler Master Keys, the 60%. I don't like the numpad. When I first started playing, I had a really small desk, and
Right.
so the numpad actually got in the way of my mouse. Now, I just don't use the numpad enough to
No.
justify having it. It's actually one of the cheaper keyboards, but I mean, it's been working for me. I've had it since I first built my PC, so it's the one thing that's kind of left.
Are the cherries on that? What
They're MX Blues, I believe,
blues?
or
Got it.
yeah, MX Blues.
Now, if anybody's like, "What are you talking about, cherries?" No, it's it all has to do with the the clicks and the keys itself. You can actually change keys out, people. I know some people are like, "What?" But I have a Logitech G Pro. The smaller, I like the smaller format too. The number pad, I used to like it, but it's just like I don't need that extra 6 inches on my keyboard, man.
Yeah.
Um,
And if I'm ever punching in numbers, it's at work, and I have a regular keyboard.
right, exactly. I'm not punching in numbers here while I'm gaming. Like I don't think I've played a game where it's like input 9 numbers.
Yeah.
What monitor are you running?
The Samsung Odyssey G9. So
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty big. You can see it here. It's a full widescreen,
yep.
5120 by 1440.
Woo!
So,
And that's
super ultra wide.
you got what 144 hertz on that?
240.
240? Oh man, look at
Yeah.
you.
So
I just got the very classic esports the Zoe, the BenQ 240
okay.
hertz. 20, I think I'm rocking 27. 26, I can't remember. I just like that, have that bigger monitor. My other one was the MSI. I had the curved MSI 27 inch, but I had 5 millisecond input
Oh,
delay, and I was like, well, if I'm going for frames, because these have 240, that had 144, I was like, I'm going with 1080. There's no point, in my personal opinion, to be at 2K or 4K. You
yeah.
don't get the frames with it. If you're trying to be competitive, unless you have a 3090, 1080 is kind of the way to go, but it's
Oh
all
yeah, for
personal
sure.
preference.
I run 1440 on mine just because it was the only super ultra wide that could get to 240.
Oh
The other
yeah.
one's 144, and I already had a 144 monitor, and I'm like, I don't want to upgrade it unless I get those extra frames.
Right, exactly. Because if you already have one, there's no point in doing it again. PC specs. What do you got in your PC?
Yeah, I have a GTX 3070.
Oh, lucky
The
bummer.
Yeah, I actually got it I sniped the Best Buy website for 6 months,
I'm
until
still
I
trying to
finally got one.
snipe the Best Buy website,
Yep.
man. I can't get my
Yep.
hands on any of them.
Yep. I knew when the drops were coming out, and then whenever they would get new inventory in stock, I would just kind of spam it. Ended up getting lucky, and I think it was late last year
Nice.
and running that. And then the Ryzen 7 3700X, I think.
Oh, nice. I'm rocking 11900K. I got lucky and found one of those just randomly in stock. I had a 9900K before that. And then I'm just rocking 2080 Supers. My streaming PC is behind me to the left, and then my gaming PC is on the right. So I run a 2 PC rig so I can get the frames with games, and then obviously the streaming PC is kind of doing all the grunt work, which is recording this right now. Awesome, man. All right, we're gonna do one more thing before we get you out of here. The information has been awesome, and if anybody does have any questions for Jonathon, you can find him on the Ferris Twitter or Twitch. The Twitter at Ferris Esports, the Twitch at twitch.tv/Ferris Esports, and what you're seeing at the bottom is VOD from when they played Toledo in Rainbow Six, which I'm not certain on the date, but I'm assuming is probably from the spring.
That's good.
Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna ask you 10 random questions. We do this with everybody that we have on. We ran these with Purdy Curdy last week. I've changed some of them up, so they're not going to be the exact same, but you are gonna see some different ones. And I think I wrote. Oh yeah, it's on the next page. I went backwards, not forwards. Yeah, it's late for me. I've been up about 12 hours. I've got that morning fog brain already. All right. So number one. How we do this, I say 10 questions in a minute, but guess what? we're going to give you more than a minute. It's just the way it is because you're going to rattle off an answer. I mean, like, what? Why? All right, so here we go. Number 1, favorite platform or console?
PC. But if I have to play console, it's Xbox.
Oh, that boy, Xbox boy. That's me too. But yeah, PC Master Race, of course. Number 2, favorite game of all time?
Overwatch.
Ooh,
It's got me my job. It's besides that though, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original.
ooh, I like that. I haven't heard that one yet, but Overwatch I haven't heard either. This is a relatively new show, so I'm sure Overwatch will come up later. Go-to snack while you're in a session?
Go-to snack. Powerade. Powerade's better than Gatorade.
No. We're gonna. That's fighting words, brother. Gatorade for life. But I will say I've been caught sneaking Powerade. So, favorite band or musician?
Oh, favorite band. I like if I'm doing rap, it's Tech Nine. Outside of that, it's either Rush
Oh, throwing it
or
back.
Megadeth.
Megadeth. Wow, it's so funny. You just covered all the gamuts, brother.
Yeah, I was in a heavy metal band in high school as well, and I used to rap.
Oh,
I
nice.
had a couple EPs up there.
So you're saying new metal is where you need to go. Metal and rap.
Yeah, like a Tilla, but yeah.
Who do you watch, pro or streamer, if you do it all?
I was an XQC fan, but yeah, he's big and doesn't watch Overwatch too much anymore.
Right.
Super's the main tank for the San Francisco Shock. I watch him a ton.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I don't
XQC I've
Swings
watched quite a
ton,
bit when he was in Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov is a big game that I play right now that he played heavily for a bit, and then he kind of raged, and I think he threw his PC. He was not happy
that's
with it.
classic. I'm a big fan of Plat Chat. They do both Valorant commentary and Overwatch commentary, and it's a lot of the guys who work behind the scenes. They'll bring them in and do interviews, and I'm a big fan of that.
Okay, nice. Cat or dog person?
I like dogs more.
Yeah, that boy. Nintendo or Sega? Now, I know you said you didn't play much back in the day, but, I mean, there was a big rivalry, and, I mean, kind of is still a big rivalry, but Nintendo or Sega started it all.
So Nintendo for me, Mario Kart Wii, I have probably 1,000 or 2,000 hours on that when I lived, when I first started in college. I played it a ton with my roommates. I had the Sega handheld growing up.
Oh, Game Gear.
Yep.
Yeah.
But my first console was like PlayStation. I didn't have any Nintendo consoles till the Wii.
Okay, gotcha. So you go with Nintendo. Gotcha. All right, Harry Potter or Voldemort?
Harry Potter. I actually used to play Quidditch for the Grand Valley Quidditch team.
Oh, did you? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember I had some friends that did the Quidditch team at Central, and they were always like, "Yeah, we got Quidditch tournament." I was like, "What? You guys play Quidditch?" Yeah.
We traveled down to nationals down in North Carolina, and we went to like our regionals were over in Chicago. It was my first introduction into these weird offshoot sports. Like,
yeah.
Esports now is way more traditional than Quidditch, but when I first started playing Quidditch, I wasn't even playing video games, so it was kind of a weird like, this is neat. I can see myself.
Yeah, I always thought it was awesome. I was like, we did an interview with him on Michigan this morning. We had him on the road crew with Central doing the Quidditch, and I was like, this is awesome. Somebody has a real Quidditch team. And then they're like, yeah, we go to nationals and everything. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's a tough sport.
It looks tough. I can't imagine doing it. Number 9, would you rather be attacked by one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
100. I can take on the 100. It's harder to kill something large, right? I mean, obviously,
yeah.
If bears were the size of cats, they like raccoons, you're just kind of like, get out of here or whatever.
Or like what Purdy said last week. He's like, I'm gonna find a tree and climb halfway up at least, and they're not gonna get me, Yeah. Number 10, anywhere in the world, brother. Where are you going?
Where am I going? Anywhere in the world. Probably Rome.
Rome.
I haven't been yet. I like more. I've been hiking. My brother's conservationist out in Glacier National Park.
Okay.
I love the outdoors, but history is more interesting for me. Those, anywhere in deep history in Europe.
Yeah. You want to go, explore where, a lot of it started, and where everything was. That's a good one. I like that one. Anywhere other than Rome?
Just
Europe in general, probably.
Yeah, anywhere, even like China, Japan. I got a buddy in Korea right now. Probably Korea actually would be my second place.
South Korea?
South Korea South Korea. South Korea just sounds like a ton of fun. Everybody I know who's been there has absolutely enjoyed it.
That'd be cool. All right. Yeah, we're being joined with Jonathon Eaton from Ferris State Esports Club. He is, running everything, making sure it's a well gassed up, greased up machine. And is there anything else that you want to get out there, Jonathon, that you have coming up or that you have plans for? Anything else that we didn't mention?
Keep an eye out for the Michigan Bandwidth Bowl in the fall. We stream that on our Twitch, like he plugged before. So just kind of come out and watch all the Michigan teams play each other. And pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll have all of the links for everything down on the podcast, guys. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple. You can also find it on SoundCloud, but you can also find it on View It, which, not everybody has a video podcast that they can watch on their TV or have access to, and I'm happy to bring that with an esports background. So, Jonathon, thank you again. Ferris Esports, twitch.tv/Ferris Esports, Twitter, at Ferris Esports. Appreciate you having on, brother, and I'm sure I'll have you on again here as we kind of work our way into the fall and next spring. But thank you again, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.